जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
So I think it would be apt immediately after national anthem if I say Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
And that exactly happens to be the title of our conference today, which happens to be our Golden Jubilee. And on this occasion, I am absolutely feeling delighted to welcome our esteemed guests. I would like to introduce them first before I go on to make the further announcements. We have with us Dr. Aruna Sharma. She's Secretary, Ministry of Steel. She will be speaking on transforming Madhya Pradesh, a governance perspective, because most of the time in her career that she has spent, that has transformed Madhya Pradesh to a great extent. Mr. Ashok Chawla would be joining us soon. He's Chairman TERI, and he would be speaking on sustainable development and Indian economic governance. Dr. Ashok Gulati, an eminent agriculture economist, Infosys Chair Professor for Agriculture at ICRIER, would be invited to speak on agricultural growth and poverty elimination, followed by Dr. Indra Rajraman, another eminent economist and member of 13th Finance Commission, who has brought about a whole lot of changes in the macroeconomics of the country, talking about macroeconomic view for India 2030. Now, 2030 happens to be a landmark for which Mr. Kochhar, our chairman at SKOCH Group, has envisioned a road to a $10 trillion economy as to how this is going to be happen, and the prospective and prescriptions are going to be during the conference that is today and tomorrow, and a whole lot of churning that is going to come out of it is going to be a vision which is going to be contributing to the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi's vision for India to become $10 trillion economy. Dr. Phatak from IIT Mumbai, he has been a fellow traveler with Mr. Kochhar since the time in 2003 when he organized the first conference. I still remember we were standing on the dais and lighting the lamp, and Dr. Phatak said, "This is just the beginning." And today we are standing here celebrating that beginning, which is still going to go on, which is the 50th conference. So ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome to you all this wintry morning, and with a brief backdrop to how this actually got started. That was the year 1997 when SKOCH was started by Mr. Kochhar. And he had only one thing in mind: how to alleviate poverty. No one can understand the need for drinking water than the thirsty person. No one can understand better as to what poverty means than a person who's poor. He had exactly the same background. Early age, he had to travel outside the country to support the family. Born to challenged parents, struggling hard, an elder sister to be married off, at the same time to take care of the day-to-day affairs. Mother had a tough time sending him to school, selling jewelry and whatnot, and so on and so forth. Managed to come back and shouldered all the responsibilities for which at a tender age of 15 he had to go out. Joined a garage startup which became the Pertec Computers Limited, PCL, and he rose to become the national marketing head, driving that company to become 600 crores. So that was something which drove him, because he had something very, very close to his heart, that is to help the poor people. And how is it that is to be done? Look at their felt needs. Prescribe policy corrections. Go an extra mile in trying to understand exactly the way Mahatma Gandhi did. Walk and talk and understand. Bring those felt needs to policy, and today we stand at a juncture where he has authored 15 volumes, the most celebrated being Modinomics, which encapsulated the journey of Mr. Narendra Modi in Gujarat just before he became the Prime Minister of India. Also encapsulating the untold story of Indian reforms, talking about Jan Dhan, Digital India, talking about crop insurance, talking about at the same time reaching benefits to the poor, which is direct benefit transfer. In the same hall many years ago, when there was a union minister and there was one beneficiary across in the audience and happened to be a Gram Pradhan. And when this minister said that, even Rajiv Gandhi had said out of 1 rupee only 15 paisa reaches. So she got up and said that, kiske haath mein bhejte ho? Directly hame hi bhej diya kijiye. So that was the beginning, of direct benefit transfer. So those are the kind of things that have emerged on this platform. It may look small, but over a period of time, there are not many in this country who would be celebrating the Golden Jubilee. So with this, I welcome you all, welcome all the dignitaries on the dais once again, and I request Kunal to start the award ceremony. I request Mr. Sameer Kochhar and Dr. Anurag Sharma to kindly step forward.
Doing the film, award film before that?
SKOCH Award, Benchmark of Excellence. SKOCH Award, instituted in 2003, salute people, projects and institutions that go the extra mile to make India a better nation. SKOCH Award, the highest independently instituted civilian honor, has been conferred. The mighty and the ordinary alike have received this award for their extraordinary achievements in contributing to the society. The roll of honor of the SKOCH Award over the years is a testimony to this. The SKOCH Award covers the best of efforts in the area of digital, financial, and social inclusion. It encompasses the best of governance, excellence in technology and applications, change management, corporate leadership, corporate governance, inclusive growth, citizen services delivery, capacity building, empowerment, and other such softer issues that get normally lost in the glamour and the glitz of industry-sponsored or advertising-focused jamborees. The SKOCH Award is distinctive for its approach of selection of awardees, which is based on nomination, jury evaluation, presentation of shortlisted nominees, focus group discussions, and interactions and peer evaluation. Additionally, the College of SKOCH Lifetime Achievers are regularly consulted for expert identification, inputs and qualification of a project, person or institution to be considered for the award. The SKOCH Award not only acknowledges exceptional achievers, organizations and individuals, but also spurs inspirational guidance and motivational leadership.
Big round of applause for our awardees today. I request Mr. Sameer Kochhar and Dr. Sharma to kindly step forward.
Ashok Chawla, Chairman Terry, SKOCH Challenger Award for Governance. Ashok Chawla. Ashok Gulati, Infosys Chair Professor for Agriculture, ICRIA. Scotch Challenger Award for Agriculture and Economics. Ashok Gulati is the country's best-known agricultural economist who was instrumental in hiking the minimum support price of several food grains as chairman of the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. As a scholar, he has prescribed solutions extensively covering areas like food security, agri-trade and agri-value chains, crop insurance, subsidies and poverty alleviation. An advocate of demand-driven approach to agriculture, Gulati has been pushing for the food processing sector to be treated as priority sector. He believes that rather than state agencies physically distributing grain, India should adopt a policy of conditional cash transfers. His tenure at CACP, where he wrote 17 price policy reports, has been known for real-time research and policy guidance on agriculture. His co-edited book, The Dragon and the Elephant, secured a unique place in the knowledge industry, published by both Johns Hopkins University Press and Oxford University Press, and has also been translated in Chinese language. He was the youngest member of the Economic Advisory Council of the Prime Minister under Atal Bihari Vajpayee and is now Infosys Chair Professor of Agriculture at ICRIA. He believes in learning lessons from the field, which is reflective in his columns From Plate to Plough. Indra Rajaraman, Economist. Scotch Challenger Award for Macroeconomics. From being a professor of economics at IIM Bangalore to RBI Chair Professor at NIPFB, to being a member of the 13th Finance Commission and a member of the Central Board of Directors of Reserve Bank of India, Indira Rajaraman has left her indelible footprints on India's macroeconomic policy, including development economics issues in fiscal policy, formal and information financial institutions, exchange rates and trade. She has written extensively on public debt in macroeconomic management and has also propounded the idea of agri-income tax as an alternative source of revenue for panchayats. The idea of GST was supported and incentivized by the 13th Finance Commission, of which she was a member. In recent months, she has written perceptively about which exactly of design features of the GST, as initially implemented in July 2017, have carried a growth cost. Some of her suggestions have already been adopted by the GST Council in its last 2 meetings. The 13th Finance Commission also introduced incentivization grants to states to introduce governance improvements in water management and other functional spheres. The terms of reference for the 15th Finance Commission just appointed indicate acceptance of the need for such incentivization mechanisms.
Thank you and congratulations once again. And with this, I have the pleasure of inviting Dr. D.B. Phatak. So.
Good morning. Very happy to be here on the 50th edition of this summit as Dr. Gurcharan said, I've been fortunate enough to have been associated right from the inception, and I have seen the long journey. What I find very creditable is that not only the high and mighty are acknowledged for their great achievements and contributions, but even people who come from ordinary walk of life and from all over the country have also always been acknowledged and rewarded by this forum. I still recall a lady from, I think Uttarakhand, was the Panchayat chief, and she had done a remarkable thing since he spoke of drinking water. The remarkable thing of providing a piped water supply to the village, spending all the money at her disposal of the Panchayat for laying down this 4-kilometer odd pipeline. It was an amazing achievement for a lady who was not very well educated in the conventional sense, but was one of the wisest that I have seen. It is such wisdom, apart from education and skills, that we need to build. I am particularly happy to note that about 150 young people from small places came here to be trained as master trainers. And what is remarkable about this new generation is that in spite of traveling for 6 hours in a bus, getting stranded at New Delhi station, they still had the temerity to brave the Delhi traffic, come in metro, and still work for more than 3.5 hours in the late night to get educated on the modern digital technologies concerning digital payment and concerning a plethora of schemes that the government has unleashed. Looking at them, I felt surer than ever that India has a very bright future, something which the SKOCH Foundation has been able to both capture and guide. Without taking any more of your time, I would only say that I am also looking forward to presentations here. आप सबकी अनुमति हो तो कुछ हिंदी में कहूँगा, because आज मध्य प्रदेश के बारे में अरुणा जी हमें बताने वाली हैं. हिंदी मेरे ख्याल से आप सब लोग समझते हैं. मध्य प्रदेश से मेरा एक निजी लगाव है. मेरी शिक्षा भी मैंने मध्य प्रदेश के 14 अलग अलग स्कूलों में पाई है, और गरीबी और लगन दोनों साथ साथ मैंने उस प्रदेश में बहुत देखा. और मुझे कोई शंका नहीं कि देश के हर प्रदेश में ऐसे लोग होंगे जो गरीबी से जूझते हुए कुछ करना चाहते होंगे. मैं आशा करता हूँ कि आप लोग इस नए माहौल का फ़ायदा उठाते हुए सरकार की अनगिनत स्कीमों के बारे में अधिक जानकारी हासिल करते हुए और उनका उपयोग करते हुए खुद आगे बढ़ेंगे और अपने समाज को भी आगे बढ़ने में मदद करेंगे. और इसके लिए ये स्कॉच फाउंडेशन हमेशा आपके साथ रहेगा. थैंक यू वेरी मच. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Dr. Phatak, for your insightful thoughts about the work that SKOCH has done over the years. Can I request Kunal to run the film? that was a glimpse of the journey that we have traveled so far, from corporate contribution to nation building, to equality, growth and social justice, to reinventing India, and also Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, and now India 2030 is the vision, which is what we have been traveling so far. With this, I present to you Mr. Sameer Kochhar, Chairman Skoch Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a big round of applause. As he described himself, a practitioner of poverty, is today a reforms historian. Mr. Kochhar.
नमस्कार। अगर आपकी बात खत्म हो जाए तो मैं बात करूं। जब स्वर्ण जयंती होती है तो काफ़ी पुरानी यादें ताज़ा हो जाना वाजिब है। सबसे पुरानी याद मेरी अपनी माँ की है। बीमार थी, नेत्रहीन थी, दिखता नहीं था, पर सपने हमेशा बहुत बड़े बड़े देखे उन्होंने। जैसा कि गुरशरण ने बताया कि बड़ा नीचे से उठ के आया हूँ, तो वो टाइम भी देखा है कि जब एक टाइम खाने को है, एक टाइम खाने को नहीं है। पर मेरी माँ ने जो भी मेरे लिए सपना देखा, हमेशा बहुत बड़ा सपना देखा। उसने हमेशा बोला मेरा बेटा बड़ा आदमी बनेगा, मेरा बेटा बड़ी कार चढ़ाएगा, मेरा बेटा बहुत पढ़ेगा। अब वो पढ़ने वाला सपना तो मैं पूरा नहीं कर सका क्योंकि गरीब था। 12वीं के बाद ही काम करना शुरू किया। पहला नौकरी जो था सामान उठाने का था, बेल बॉय था ताज के अंदर। तो कुली से मैंने शुरू किया और वहाँ से जैसे जैसे देश ने तरक्की की, देश की इकॉनमी, अर्थव्यवस्था खुलती गई, उसके साथ साथ मेरी भी तरक्की हुई। और मैंने देखा कि सिर्फ मेरी तरक्की नहीं हो रही है, मेरे साथ जितने लोग थे, जहाँ से मैं आता हूँ पहाड़गंज में, जितने मेरे मित्र थे, जितने लोग रहते थे, जितने भी गरीब तबके के लोग थे, उनकी भी एक यात्रा शुरू हुई। और आज सारे अच्छा कर रहे हैं, सबके अच्छे बच्चे अच्छे स्कूलों में पढ़ के पास भी हो चुके हैं, सब अच्छी जगह मकान में रह रहे हैं। तो जो पहली सीख मैंने ये सीखी वो ये है कि सपने देखना बहुत ज़रूरी है। आज भी आप लोग जो हैं करीब 150 लोग, ये 300-400 लोग बैठे हैं, उसमें से गाँव से आए हैं, रूरल इंडिया से आए हैं। काफ़ी लोग पढ़े लिखे बेरोजगार हैं। तो सबसे बड़ा काम आपका ये है कि सपना आप ज़रूर देखिए, तभी वो पूरा होगा। अगर सपना देखोगे ही नहीं तो वो पूरा कैसे होगा। और इसीलिए जो हमने एक कार्यक्रम शुरू किया है समावेश, जिसमें आपकी ट्रेनिंग की जाए ताकि आप अपना रोजगार शुरू कर पाएँ, वो एक बहुत ज़रूरी चीज़ है। दूसरी चीज़ जो मुझे याद आती है वो ये है कि क्योंकि मैं ज़्यादा पढ़ा लिखा नहीं हूँ और मेरे काफ़ी सारे मित्र यहाँ जो बैठे हैं वो मतलब इतने पढ़े लिखे हैं कि मैं 3 जिंदगियों में भी उतना नहीं पढ़ पाऊँगा। काफ़ी प्रोफेसर हैं, PhD हैं। तो जो एक मैंने सबसे बड़ी शुरू में अपनी समस्या देखी थी कि मैं अपने आप को एक एकेडमिक शूद्र कहता हूँ, कि मतलब मैं जो है लोअर क्लास हूँ एकेडमिक्स में। तो अपने को एक्सेप्ट कराना उस क्लास के लोगों में कि चाहे मैं पढ़ा लिखा नहीं हूँ फिर भी मुझे नॉलेज है, मैं भी पब्लिक पॉलिसी में कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकता हूँ, ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज रहा। और मुझे ये प्रसन्नता है कि पिछले 15 सालों में जितना पब्लिक पॉलिसी को इम्पैक्ट, गरीबों के लिए पब्लिक पॉलिसी को इम्पैक्ट स्कॉच ने किया है, वो शायद किसी ने नहीं किया है। चाहे वो प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना हो, चाहे वो नरेगा हो, चाहे वो प्रधानमंत्री जनधन योजना हो, चाहे वो फसल बीमा योजना हो, उसमें जितनी ये सारी योजनाएं हैं आप देखेंगे इसमें एक बहुत अहम भूमिका, एक बहुत बड़ी भूमिका जो है वो स्कॉच की रही है। मुद्रा योजना की जो रिपोर्ट कह रहे हैं लोग कि ग्रोथ हो रही है, तरक्की हो रही है, पर रोज़गार नहीं है, पर जो मुद्रा योजना में रोज़गार का सृजन हुआ उसकी भी पहली रिपोर्ट स्कॉच की थी। और उसके रहते, उस रिपोर्ट के रहते जो है मुद्रा योजना को भी बहुत बड़ा बढ़ावा दिया जा रहा है। तीसरी चीज़ जो मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगा वो ये है कि हम जो भी काम करते हैं शायद समय से पहले कर लेते हैं। आपने देखा कि हमने आज ये 50वीं हमारी विचार गोष्ठी है। पहली थी डिलीवरिंग इक्वालिटी, ग्रोथ एंड सोशल जस्टिस। तो वहाँ से हम शुरू हुए हैं और आज जो हम बात कर रहे हैं इंडिया 2030 के, आज 2030 में इंडिया जो कैसा होगा, तो ये पूरी जर्नी में आप देखेंगे कि जब सरकार बात करती है, जो भी पब्लिक पॉलिसी का एजेंडा आता है, चाहे वो ई गवर्नेंस हो, चाहे वो MSME के ऊपर फोकस हो, चाहे वो रोजगार के ऊपर हो, हम लोगों ने हमेशा, चाहे वो आधार के लिए हो, चाहे वो गवर्नेंस रिफॉर्म के लिए हो, लास्ट माइल सिटीजन सर्विस डिलीवरी के लिए हो, CSC योजना के लिए हो, SHG ग्रुप्स के लिए हो, लाइवलीहुड लिंकेज के लिए हो, आप हमेशा देखेंगे कि स्कॉच ने ये वाले मुद्दे जब ये मेन स्ट्रीम होते हैं उससे करीबन 10 साल पहले से उठाए हैं, और बड़ी मेहनत लगती है उन 10 सालों में उसको फोर फ्रंट पे लाते और देश के समक्ष प्रस्तुत करते। और कई दफ़े तो ऐसा होता है कि जो हमने बात कही तो किसी को ना पसंद आई हो तो उसका क्रिटिसिज्म भी होता है। रिसेंटली तो आजकल तो पुलिस कंप्लेन भी हो जाती है। तो पर खैर ये सारे जोखिम हैं, प्रोफेशनल रिस्क हैं, क्योंकि आप सच बोलते हो, आप पेट्रियाटिक हो, आप नेशनलिस्ट हो, तो फिर डरने की क्या बात है, क्योंकि गांधी जी भी जेल गए थे। सच बोलने से कभी डरना नहीं चाहिए, जो भी कॉस्ट हो वो देने के लिए आप हमेशा तैयार रहो। तो मैं तो आपके समक्ष इतना ही कहना चाहूँगा। और ये जो सबसे सेटिस्फाइंग चीज़ मेरी रही इस जर्नी में 50 कॉन्फ्रेंसेस की, कि जो देश के बड़े बड़े नेता थे, जिन लोगों ने देश में बहुत बड़ा बदलाव लाया, चाहे वो यशवंत सिन्हा हो, चाहे वो चिदम्बरम जी हों, चाहे वो वेंकैया नायडू हों, चाहे वो डॉक्टर विजय केलकर हों, सब ने मुझे एक अवसर दिया, एक मौका दिया उनकी कहानी लिखने का। 14 किताबें मैं लिख चुका हूँ। इन सब का जितने लोगों ने रिफॉर्म्स में कंट्रीब्यूट किया है, सबकी बायोग्राफी मैंने ही लिखी है। और जैसे कि जब देश को एक संविधान की ज़रूरत थी तो बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर ने लिखा था, जो कि शेड्यूल कास्ट थे। तो जब देश को एक रिफॉर्म हिस्ट्री की ज़रूरत पड़ी तो उसको लिखने के लिए एक मेरे जैसा अनपढ़ आदमी आया जो सिर्फ 12वीं पास है, और इन सब ने मुझ पर भरोसा किया और मुझे वो कहानी लिखने का मौका दिया। बहुत फेमस किताब मेरी मोदीनॉमिक्स है, जो कि इलेक्शन से पहले निकली गई थी, जिसमें मैंने इंक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक्स, इंक्लूसिव गवर्नेंस का जिक्र किया था। मोदी जी ने भी मुझे ये मौका दिया, और ऐसा ही मौका मुझे एक श्री शिवराज सिंह चौहान ने दिया है, जो उनकी कहानी है मध्य प्रदेश को ट्रांसफॉर्म करने की, जो विकास करने की। आज उनको आना था, वो नहीं आ पाए। तोमर जी को आना था। जैसा आपको मालूम है कि बीजेपी की पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी मीटिंग चल रही है, और तोमर जी जो हैं वो ऑब्जर्वर हैं हिमाचल प्रदेश के लिए, तो व्यस्त हैं, नहीं आ पाए। देश ऑब्वियसली जो है प्राथमिकता लेता है। फॉर्चुनेटली हमारे साथ श्रीमती अरुणा शर्मा जी मौजूद हैं, जिन्होंने ये एक्चुअली किताब शुरू करने में ही मेरी मदद की थी। अगर ये ना होती तो शायद ये किताब कभी ना लिखी जाती। और चौहान साहब ने गुजारिश की कि इस पुस्तक का विमोचन जो है, मैं गुजारिश करूं कि श्रीमती अरुणा शर्मा करें, तो मैं उनसे गुजारिश करूंगा कि वो प्लीज़ किताब का विमोचन करें।
Well, thank you very much for releasing the book. And for anyone who is interested in taking a glimpse or otherwise interested in reading and additionally purchasing, it is available outside there at the Scotch counter. You could do so. So with this, I now invite Mr. Rohan Kochhar, Director, Scotch Development Foundation, to reflect on women empowerment in Madhya Pradesh.
लोगों ने इस पर रिसर्च करने में मेरी मदद की। रोहन जो उस वक़्त शायद स्कूल से अभी निकला ही था, कॉलेज में गया था, इसने खुद जा जा के वहाँ पे जो वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट का काम देखा, वही सारी चीज़ें इस किताब में लिखी हैं। तो रोहन अब आपको बताएगा कि मध्य प्रदेश में वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट में क्या बदला है।
जी, आप सभी का स्कॉच फाउंडेशन की ओर से सप्रेम नमस्कार। डॉक्टर अरुणा शर्मा जी, डॉक्टर इंदिरा राजारामन जी, डॉक्टर अशोक गुलाटी जी, डॉक्टर वी एन आलोक जी, डॉक्टर दीपक फाटक जी, and Dr. Gurcharan Dhanjal ji, I am truly in esteemed company to be in the presence of such noted and noble academics today. And at the very outset, we've had the benefit of listening, and may I also take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Ashok Chawla, who's just joined us. We've had the benefit of listening to Dr. Deepak B. Phatak, who said that it is not just the high and mighty, but the unsung heroes who are doing extraordinary things which must be saluted. And I couldn't agree with him more. Madhya Pradesh is a prime example of the above being tried, tested, and proven. Not just has the state government tried to achieve socio-economic empowerment through various initiatives, such as the Janani Suraksha Yojana of 2005, which the Government of India later adopted for a national rollout through the imaginative use of ICDS resources. It's been able to reduce its IMR from 82 in 2003 and 4 to 53 in 2016, and its maternal mortality rate from 335 to 2005 to 222 in 2016. The Ladli Lakshmi Yojana, which the government of Madhya Pradesh started in 2006, promises rupees 1.18 lakh when a girl child attains the age of 21, and so far 15 lakh girl children have become Ladli Lakshmis, with a positive effect on the sex ratio in the state. But Dr. Phatak also said one more thing which had a resounding impact. उन्होंने कहा कि गरीबी और लगन से आप बहुत कुछ अचीव कर सकते हैं, और मध्य प्रदेश में भी यही हुआ है। आप सभी यहाँ आए हैं बिजनौर से, आप 6 घंटे का सफ़र तय करके आए हैं, आप अपने घर से निकल पाए, ये बहुत सौभाग्य की बात है। मध्य प्रदेश में ऐसी ऐसी जगहें हैं, ऐसी ट्राइबल आदिवासी कम्युनिटीज़ हैं जो अपने घर से भी हिस्टोरिकली नहीं निकल पाती थी, हमारी महिलाएं बहनें वहाँ से। तो उनका सशक्तिकरण करने के लिए मध्य प्रदेश सरकार ने उनके घरों में जा जा के प्रोग्राम चलाए, जिससे वो सोसाइटी में इंक्लूड हों, उनको सोशल ईवल्स की जानकारी मिले, वो अपने प्रस्ताव रख पाएँ और अपना अर्थशास्त्रिक सशक्तिकरण कर सकें। एक ऐसा जो हमारा प्रोजेक्ट था, वहाँ हमने देखा डिंडोरी में जो है 66% एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड जो है, उनकी ज़मीन जो है वो अनड्यूलेटिंग है, उसमें पत्थर जड़े हुए हैं, वो कुछ वहाँ उगा नहीं सकते। तो एक दिन महिलाएं बहनें सारी आईं, एकजुट हुईं, उन्होंने पूछा यहाँ क्या करें। वहाँ पे वो ट्रेडिशनली जो ऐतिहासिक तौर पे वो उगाते थे, वो एक माइनर मिलेट है कोडो कुट की, जो धीरे धीरे कम होते चले जा रहा था। फिर उन्होंने बोला कि ये यहाँ बहुत अच्छे से उगता है, हम इसको उगाएंगे। ये उन्होंने आधे एकड़ पे ट्राई किया, फिर 1 एकड़ पे ट्राई किया, और आज उसका आउटपुट जो है, उसकी फॉरेन मार्केट्स में भी इतनी डिमांड है कि वो अपना सशक्तिकरण खुद कर रही हैं बहनें वहाँ पे। दूसरा, ये शौर्य दल का जो उनका प्रोग्राम है, उसमें 6 ट्राइबल डिस्ट्रिक्ट जो कि मांडला, बालाघाट, डिंडोरी, टीकमगढ़, पाना और छतरपुर में मध्य प्रदेश सरकार ने कम्युनिटी लेड इंस्टीट्यूशंस बनाई हैं, एक इनेबलिंग एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट करने के लिए, जहाँ पे वो कम्युनिटी को सेंसिटाइज कर पाएँ, सोशल ईवल्स के बारे में एजुकेट कर पाएँ, और मास्टर ट्रेनर्स को, जो इन्फ्लुएंशियल लोग हैं कम्युनिटी के, जिनकी बातें सुनी जाती हैं कम्युनिटी में, उनको एम्पावर करके आगे बढ़ाएं। जब मैं वहाँ गया और मेरी इंटरेक्शन हुई वहाँ की महिला बहनों से, तो मुझे ये देखने को मिला कि उनके पास ना पढ़ाई लिखाई का अवसर मिला, ना उनको कोई और अर्थशास्त्रिक अपनी एम्पावरमेंट करने का बचपन से अवसर मिला। मगर जब मध्य प्रदेश सरकार ने ये प्रोजेक्ट तेजस्विनी, ये शौर्य दल और ये कोडो कुटकी के प्रोग्राम चलाए, तो ये महिलाएं बहनें हमारी अपने घर से बाहर आएँ, अपना अर्थशास्त्रिक संगठन बनाया, अपना विकास किया। और इससे हमें ये सीख मिलती है कि it's not just the extraordinary people who are the high and mighty, like Dr. Phatak said, but also the unsung heroes which are doing great work at the grassroots. And I salute the Madhya Pradesh government for doing a fantastic job for social, digital and financial inclusion and women's empowerment. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Rohan, for bringing in perspective the work that Madhya Pradesh government has done for women empowerment. And I think I'm the next in the queue to bring you another perspective on Madhya Pradesh. Interestingly speaking, all of us have known Madhya Pradesh to be not a very advanced, kind of a backward state. And when during the 1980s, economist, not so well known, Ashish Bose, talked about Madhya Pradesh and created an acronym called BIMARU, and made Madhya Pradesh as part of that. That was primarily based on a few indicators which were very, very low on human development, low on industry, and also at the same time extreme poverty, which the state was reeling under. So when Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan took over in the year 2005, if I'm not mistaken, so he had inherited nothing glorious about the state. He had inherited a poor economy, extreme poverty, and I'm sure what Rohan has delved on, the kind of insecurity which was prevalent all across. That was something which posed the major of the challenges in which Mr. Chouhan took over the reins of the state as 18th chief minister. Soon enough he realized that why is it exactly the way at SKOCH felt in 1997 that the benefits are not reaching people? Why is it that we are stuck at 15 paisa? Why is it that people still are complaining despite the fact that we've been independent for so many years? The difference between, or the gap between the felt needs and the supply side. So what government probably was doing was not addressing what people were looking for or what their felt needs were. So that's a perspective when we brought to the policy table. When we started traveling all across, we felt that people are having a pain in the limb while they are being treated for the eye. So obviously money is being spent, tick mark is happening, but the benefits for which the money is being spent are not being accrued to people. So I'm sure when Ashish Bose died in the year 2014 at an old age, he would have drawn a whole lot of solace from the fact that once Madhya Pradesh, which was tagged as BIMARU, in last 10 years has successfully shed that tag and today is in the pink of health. So I think a big round of applause is deserved for everyone, and particularly so when we have Dr. Aruna with us. She was the additional chief secretary, and I'm sure she would be reflecting as I'm speaking here, because most of those projects which actually delivered to the people, both for empowerment, not only just women, in terms of bringing these, the digital, social, and financial inclusion, also creating a framework which she called Samagra, which is the integrated development, apart from the demand-driven, looking at as to how is it that you can actually address the needs of the people. Poverty in last as many years has reduced by 34%, which is a remarkable achievement. Agriculture, which was in doldrums, has increased by 233%, which is not seen anywhere else in the country. Literacy rate, which was very, very poor, even if I say it has improved by 11%, it's a remarkable feat. The school dropout rate, that has been the problem all across the country, even if as we stand in the capital city, we also suffer from the same problem. That kids get into the school, yes, we say that our literacy rate is going up, but nobody is looking at the dropouts. So that was something which was tapped, and it was reduced by 37% for the upper primary schools. And on the overall numbers, the state GDP grew by 91%. So that is something which has brought the investor close to the state. When we say today ease of doing business, when we talk about all those initiatives, which is what the government has taken, and during the last GIS, which is the Global Investor Summit in 2016 September, 6 lakh crore worth of proposals were received by the state. Definitely, this is not an indication of any BIMARU state. So therefore, what I would like to mention here is that if we have to, I'm not making any comparison here, but if we have to see a like-to-like governance model, it could easily be compared with the Gujarat model, wherein we say that 24/7 electricity supply, but there is a whole lot of innovation behind it. If I say in Gujarat how it happened by splitting the grid, this is exactly what was attempted even in Madhya Pradesh. It was not an innovation. It was a replication of the best practices which were already established. What, in governance terms, the mistake that we commit is that we believe in reinventing the wheel. But when it comes to Madhya Pradesh, they not only innovated, instead of reinventing the wheel, they picked up the best practices from across the country and implemented. Women empowerment, certainly so, has been at the forefront on the development agenda. To add to what Rohan said about Kodo Kutki, the average income per acre went up from 0 to 12,000 rupees. Now, this is economic empowerment, but the story doesn't stop here. If we look at the Ministry of Food Processing, the Institute of Food Technology and Development, they have picked up Kodo Kutki as a minor millet and are making idlis, making batters out of that. And what for? Not for the regular market, but for the midday meal scheme, because it is full of protein, so that our kids, they get the best of nutrition. And even if you have to sell it in the market, this is found to be an equivalent of quinoa, the best meal that one can have in terms of nutrition. So the story continues. So if Madhya Pradesh has done something which is being emulated by others, kudos to the governance model which has been created. Of course, the E-Nagar Palika, if we look at another example of Madhya Pradesh, which is implemented across 377 municipalities, happens to be the only existing example where SAP implementation has happened, so that there is seamless integration of all municipalities together. When Maharashtra did 270 odd municipalities, they replicated the model of citizen facilitation center, so that all services could be brought under one fold, but they were not seamless. Even till date, it is not seamless. We documented that success story of municipal corporations becoming citizen facilitation centers and computerization. That was the year 2003. That started with Kalyan Dombivli Municipal Corporation. We had never heard of it. I'm sure many people in the house as well wouldn't have heard it for the first time. Yes, a small hamlet tucked away on one side of Mumbai. Similarly, a place called Namli in Ratlam has done something which has become the harbinger of revolution when it comes to the garbage disposal. And Jabalpur generating energy out of garbage. These are the first of examples. Happened much before even the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan when it started. So that was innovation. So thinking out of the box is something which has been reflective all through in the governance model that has been created by Mr. Shivraj Singh Chouhan. Today, the state is well on its way to attract all kinds of investments. Now, if I say GIS, Reliance itself would have invested thousands of crore rupees by now. Put together, there is an employment potential out of this investment that has already taken place, runs into nearly 500,000. So, growth, equity, and livelihoods. The motto on which Scotch stands, the growth leads to equity and equity leads to livelihoods, is something which is what we've been following and being ardent supporter of. Looking at ultimately, even when you say that the biggest Indian brand today challenging all the large FMCG brands, so I'm sure I don't have to say the name, that's Patanjali. Diversification is happening, and almost 47 acres of land that has been picked up by Patanjali for diversifying, not for FMCG, going into textile production. Now that is going to be the first of its kind in India, which is going to be based on organic. That is again in sync with the organic policy of India. Therefore, I would say that state is no more a Bimaru state and has actually become a leading light for others. Thank you very much. So with this, I invite Dr. Aruna Sharma, Secretary, Ministry of Steel, to reflect on transforming Madhya Pradesh from the governance perspective, which is a first-hand account.
Dr. Ashok Chawla, Dr. Indra Jayaraman, Dr. Ashok Gulati, Dr. Phatak, Dr. Dhanjal, Mr. Kochhar and his team. Really, it's my pleasure, and definitely I carry forward the blessings of the Chief Minister for flagging the transforming journey of the state, which we all call it as a heart of India. Over the last decade, as has been very rightly said, the transformation has been from Bimaru to that of state of developing economy. The Bimaru tag is completely out as far as Madhya Pradesh is concerned, and that has been because of a very focused approach and the directions of the team which was working together, whether it is politicians or the bureaucrat. And that is what it took ahead together. It's a complete teamwork there, a very frank exchange of opinions, clear working out of strategies, and that is how it worked. The GSDP, what you call it, the state's index, it's in double digit, constantly 16.6% from 2004 to 2016. On year one, yes, Madhya Pradesh started with a lower base, and that's why we have this double digit. But year on year, maintaining it required a lot of efforts, and now it has become sustainable, and that is why it has been on a constant growth trajectory. It is a landlocked state, and therefore it had its limitation. It doesn't have a port, it doesn't have the other advantages, 12% is covered by forest. So given these limitations, the focus of the Chief Minister from 2004 onwards was making agriculture labh ka dhanda. And in that, the whole focus was that how the agriculture is, the krishak becomes a profitable proposition. In this, whether it is small millets like Kodo Kutki example that was given for the women's empowerment, or for the cash crops, the whole transformation was being focused upon, which is reflected that the irrigation increased from 7.5 lakhs to 37 lakhs. In fact, in Narega also, the most popular program was Kapil Dhara. And the statistics showed that anybody who took a well, irrigation well in Kapil Dhara, stopped coming for Narega employment in the consequent years. And that was the real impact of the Narega as it went ahead in the state. It did get Krishi Karman Award year after year, recognizing its potential. And the industry sector, as has been very rightly said, is not lagging behind. We are working on the software industries, and now that logistics has been declared as an industry, I'm sure Madhya Pradesh will encash on that potential as we go ahead with it. You'll be very surprised to know that in the state, when we were talking of holistic example, the issue was that how are we going to work to fill the gap what we don't get from the central sponsored scheme. सबसे अच्छा उदाहरण है कि हर गांव को सड़क से जोड़ना, प्रधानमंत्री सड़क योजना, सबसे ज़्यादा सड़कें मध्य प्रदेश में बनाई गई। लेकिन कुछ ऐसे गांव थे, क्योंकि मध्य प्रदेश लो डेंसिटी स्टेट है, जहां पे आबादी 500 के नीचे है, तो एक मुख्यमंत्री सड़क योजना बनाई गई, और उसमें थैंक्स टू 13th कमीशन मनी and other money which we got, उनको कन्वर्ज करके उन गाँव को भी पक्की सड़कों से जोड़ा गया। तो ये इस तरह से काम किया गया कि हर गांव को सड़क से जोड़ना है, उनको सारे बेनिफिट्स देने हैं और कन्वर्जेंट अप्रोच में इसको आगे बढ़ाना है। आज जो आईटी सेक्टर में समग्र डेटा मध्य प्रदेश का है, उसमें पूरे परिवार की जानकारी और पूरा राज्य उसी डेटा पे काम करता है। फिर जिसको घर देना है वो जिनको आवास योजना देने का काम है वो वहीं से देता है, पीडीएस वहीं से देता है, लाइवलीहुड ट्रेनिंग देनी है वो भी वहीं पे है। तो आप एक परिवार को क्या फ़ायदा दिया गया वो एक डेटाबेस से आपके सामने पूरी तरह से आ जाता है। आज मध्य प्रदेश में एक भी पैसा कैश में नहीं जाता है। जितनी पंचायतें हैं, आप लोग ट्रेनिंग ले रहे हो, आज गांव में एक बहुत अच्छा उदाहरण है कि हर पंचायत में एक ग्राम रोजगार सहायक नियुक्त किया गया और वो ऐसा लड़का या लड़की नियुक्त की गई जिसको सबसे ज़्यादा नंबर आए हों और जिसको कंप्यूटर का ज्ञान है। आज उसकी स्थिति ये है कि सरपंच भी अपने सारे पेमेंट डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफ़र से करता है, 100%। 1 रुपया कैश में कहीं नहीं जाता है और ये इतना वेल एस्टैब्लिश सिस्टम हो गया है। और शुरू में जो नए सरपंच आए उनको दिक्कत लगा, लेकिन बाद में वो इतने खुश थे क्योंकि मध्य प्रदेश में 50% महिला सरपंच है, अनुसूचित जाति जनजाति के अत्यधिक सरपंच है। उन लोगों का कहना था कि अब पंचायत सचिव हमसे गबन नहीं करा सकता क्योंकि पैसा क्या आया और कहाँ गया ये ट्रेसेबल है, हम सस्पेंड नहीं होंगे, हमें नहीं निकाला जाएगा क्योंकि ये पूरा ट्रैकिंग आएगा। तो इस तरह से मध्य प्रदेश ने इन सारे चीज़ों का पूरा फ़ायदा उठाया है। एंड द कॉम्प्लीमेंट गोज इज कपिल देव सिंह, फाउंडर एंड CEO of SKOCH Consulting, recently did a maximum governance report on digital states of India. And in fact, even I was surprised when Madhya Pradesh emerged as #1, followed by Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. The amount of digitization that has happened in that state is amazing. You have MP Online, where all grievances are addressed and they are constantly monitored by putting them in different grades. You have this transformation of direct benefit transfers. You have the entire database which is digitized. So this is one state which has gone ahead for transparency. I compliment the leadership there, which works upon administration, which is togetherness, complementary, and going ahead. There were ups and downs, there were issues, there were some coups, some scandals, but all were properly investigated and corrective actions had been taken as we moved ahead on that. I am very sure that this was one state which was the first one to go for Human Development Index sub-state, so district-wise or sub-country rather. So we had a HDR for Madhya Pradesh, and that helped us to understand the baseline, that helped the state to move ahead on that and work in a concrete way for a complete success as we move ahead on that. I really compliment Scotch to come up and document this period. Of course, we had a very stable chief minister from 2004 onwards till date. We had a stable administration, which reflected in the stable tenures of the officers. I don't remember any officer having tenure less than 2 to 3 years for any posting, so they could think about it, they could work upon it, they could plan about it, execute it, and consolidate it. And the results are for everybody to see. We really look forward for this sustained development and the levels which the state has reached. Being one of the Bimaru, if that can come up, I think everybody can come up. That is the mission which goes along with it. Yes, it is good to document these achievements. It's good to document the process in which it went because it helps others. And like has rightly been said, this state, even though being very innovative, always believed not to waste time in reinvent the wheel. And the slogan it went ahead was BPL se Lakhpati. And today they have documented not less than 14 lakh families, all their telephone numbers, mobile numbers, addresses, which anybody can go and see who have become from BPL to Lakhpati because of the various interventions. Of course, their request is not to remove their name from BPL list, which we adhere to. We don't remove it so that they continue to get the various small fringe benefits they get just because they are BPL. And this is a journey on which it is moving ahead. A 7 crore population state, moving very strongly, high tribal population state, moving very strongly. And this is a state blessed with minerals, blessed with forest, blessed with wildlife, blessed by nature, and blessed by hard work. I'm very sure that this documentation will give a trigger to the state to move at much faster pace and compete with the developed states of the country, not within India, and have the parameters compatible across the globe. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Dr. Sharma, to give us a governance perspective. Moving away from Madhya Pradesh, talking about sustainable development and Indian economic governance. I invite Mr. Ashok Chawla, Chairman TERI.
Shri Sameer Kochhar, the anchor of today's convention, distinguished colleagues and dignitaries on the dais, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It was very interesting for the time that I was here, listening to the substantial and very massive changes that have been taking place in Madhya Pradesh, which obviously reflects what is going on in various parts of the country. The pace and direction of change, development, involvement of the people has obviously been very, very impressive. Let me begin by complimenting all those, including some of the delegates who are involved in that process. And we hope that this continues, not just in this one state, but across the length and breadth of the country. Sustainable development and Indian economic governance. We talked, as I said, we heard about development, and this is something which is part of the journey of human societies. The progress in terms of economic parameters, in terms of social parameters, and all that goes into it. Post-Second World War, when the economies and societies of many of the countries, particularly the major economies of Europe, which were crippled, there was a huge thrust on development, on getting them back into the development paradigm and in the way the societies had existed before that. So those societies, those economies sought to be rebuilt, a lot of money put into them, development. There was also the newly independent countries, including India, which were coming out of colonialism, and there was a huge paradigm and architecture on how we should develop, how we should grow, what is the economic model. And as you are aware, the country set up the planning commission at that point in time. We followed a path of development, which was mostly centered around state participation, but with some role for private business and industry. So that's the journey of development. And then, about 3 decades ago or so, people, thinkers, policymakers started realizing that development is fine, it's good, it's important, but it has to be sustainable. It has to be something which can continue over a long period of time. Because the human race and the world is not going to end tomorrow. So if we go on exploiting what we have in a very, very aggressive manner, what will happen to future generations? So therefore, this whole concept and the lexicon of sustainable development came about. And the World Commission on Environment and Development 1987 defined what is sustainable development. It would be good to recall that. Said that development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the needs of future generations to meet their own needs. That is sustainable development. So it has to take care of future generations. And economic governance, well, one need not go deep into it, but basically it's the structure and functioning of legal and social institutions which are essential for economic activity and based on which economic activity takes place. Sustainable development consists of three pillars. One is economic development, three pillars or three dimensions. One is economic development, social development, and environmental protection. So the sustainable development paradigm, and I'm sure you are following it in Madhya Pradesh and in your own way, seeks to balance these three. So it's not just one, not just economic development, but along with that social, along with that you have to protect the environment, and that makes it sustainable. If you, while of course this is something conceptually which has come about in the last 3 decades or so, but if you look back, sustainable development is in a sense part of the Indian value system. It's part of our DNA. And I think it's part of all societies and peoples where resources are somewhat limited. So then naturally, the first tendency or first impulse is to use what you have in a somewhat conservative, in a somewhat frugal manner, and not waste. So that's part of the ecosystem, and I think that's, without sort of mentioning it so specifically, it's been part of the planning process since independence. More recently, since this is now the mantra which the world is focusing on, the global community has adopted the Sustainability Development Goals, which are 17 goals. And India, you would be happy to know, has played a very important role in pushing the agenda for the SDGs, which have a global agenda of achieving those by the year 2030, which is also incidentally the focus of the convention which the Scotch Foundation is putting up today and tomorrow. In India, Niti Aayog is the agency which has been identified as the nodal agency for the SDGs. So while we have sustainability as part of our DNA, while we have made progress on several social and environmental indicators, the overall progress of the country still continues to be mixed. I won't say it's poor, but it's mixed. There is, despite changes and despite improvements, there is still a high degree of poverty. The access to basic services such as water, sanitation, health, education services is not what we all as citizens or even as planners would want it to be. The levels of pollution, those are folklore, we need not dwell on those. And so naturally, once the thresholds which we wish to achieve are much higher than where the system is today, every government, every plan sets ambitious goals, and rightly so. In the context of sustainable development, there are two core issues, particularly in relation to the economic governance paradigm. The first, which is vital, is productivity in the use of resources, whatever we have. And this applies also to labor and public finance. Because we obviously need to get the best, the optimum out of the somewhat scarce resources that we as a country or a society have. The second is to reduce waste, and this is very important. Again, as I said, it's part of our ethos, but we need to bear that in mind as the country keeps moving towards consumerism of the kind which we see in the, which is a way of life in the more developed societies. So reduce waste, reuse, recycle, that's very important. Let me touch briefly on some parts of the productivity paradigm. Labor productivity. There is no reason, but studies show that the productivity levels are not as high as they can be or should be. And this is not just in manufacturing, but also in the services sector. And this is very relevant, very critical for us, because the economic growth model which our country and economy has seen, we have leapfrogged very substantially into a zone where services contribute a major part of the GDP. So therefore, 55-60% or more coming from services sector. So therefore, it's very important that productivity in such a vital segment of the economic pie is raised to higher levels. There's an added problem here, that the labor force to the population ratio is lower than what it is globally. And the prime reason for that is that the female labor force participation is only 31%, which is one of the lowest in the world. And I think that's something which all governments are attempting to increase. The general society is moving in that direction. That's a critical factor in our quest for higher labor force or female labor force participation and the value that it can bring about in our overall productivity and change. The other dimension, the other aspect is energy. While the overall energy intensity has fallen, but we still have a long way to go. It may have fallen more in the larger segment of manufacturing, but not adequately in the MSME sector. So that's an area which has to be, and should be a focus of economic policy. And here if we look at the energy scene as a whole, we are moving and should continue to move towards more non-conventional energy sources, which is solar, wind, biomass. Not that the conventional sources can go away or will go away. They will still continue to be the prime movers. But the incremental addition to energy can and should come from those areas. Other resources apart from energy inputs and other things is that our overall total material demand at 5 billion tons is the third largest in the world after US and China. Of course, we are a major economy, so it will be high, but it's important that we improve the material efficiency use. So what can be or what should be the economic governance architecture, very broadly speaking, to move towards relatively more towards sustainable development? Should it be left to the invisible hand of the market, where the market forces determine? Clearly that's not going to be adequate, has not been adequate anywhere. So you need a more of a nudge in terms of carrot and stick, which is incentives or disincentives from the policy point. And of course, goes without saying, there has to be a much higher level of research, development, and innovation. So let me identify 5 or 6 quick points, bullets, which maybe as part of the policy making paradigm we need to look at. The first is, and this is being done in many societies, many economies, it is natural resource accounting, which determines the rate of exploitation of your natural resource, whether it is coal, whether it is oil, whether it is any other commodity. Natural resource accounting. Second, sustainability reporting with the same kind of frequency and formality as fiscal reporting. And not just for corporates. If corporates put out their, companies put out their financial numbers, they should also put out their sustainability reporting numbers on how they have handled this in their operations. But also, I think, very soon, public authorities, public bodies, governments, municipalities should get into this paradigm. Third, the taxation framework in terms of excise duty on, let's say, cars, customs duty on equipment for non-conventional energy sources, so on and so forth. These are examples. Should be aligned and periodically reviewed to signal focus on higher sustainability. 4, the policy paradigm should very clearly identify the manner in which resources will be allocated for the development process. 5, signal the right choices through the lending rates of banks, where you could sort of give an incentive to green projects, green activities, sustainable activities. And finally, we need to move, maybe not now, but in the years ahead, to start with maybe a productivity commission, but eventually a sustainability commission with provision for social audit in terms of what is being done on the ground in this area. Social audit by third parties or external agencies. So friends, the area of sustainable development is in a sense known, but it's huge. The work is huge. It's something which we all as individuals can help and contribute in. But on a much larger canvas, it will move at a speed which we would want it to if the architecture, the policy architecture and the governance architecture builds in many of these action points, incentives, disincentives in the years ahead, because we would all wish that we leave the world and the planet with enough room for our future generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chawla, for bringing in a governance perspective to the sustainable development. While you were talking about the energy, the Jabalpur that I had mentioned, in last 1 year itself, 37,000 tons of carbon emissions, have been reduced in just one implementation of waste to energy plant in Jabalpur. And also the flip side is almost 20,000 houses are being lit by the 350 tons of waste which is being generated on a daily basis. So in fact, it can really have very long-term impact. So thank you so much for bringing it in. And now I invite Dr. Ashok Gulati, Infosys Chair Professor for Agriculture at ICRIER, talking about agricultural growth and poverty elimination.
Thank you, Gursharan. Distinguished speakers on the dais, distinguished delegates here, I've been asked to talk for 20 minutes on agriculture and elimination of poverty. I think let me start by what Father of the Nation Mahatma Gandhi once said: poverty is the worst form of violence. So if you want to control violence in this country and in the world, you have to eliminate poverty. So public policy, the first job of public policy, after providing you the basic security to live, is to eliminate poverty. Now I'm going to talk about where do we stand globally on this, what are the best practices that different countries have shown us, what is happening at all India level, and what is happening in Madhya Pradesh, to speak a bit. And maybe what is happening for the last 3-4 years, and if we have to move forward, what do we need to do? In 2008, World Development Report looked at several developing countries. What is the development experience during the last 25 years or so? And they came up with one basic finding. And what was that finding? That agriculture growth, 1% growth in agriculture, is at least 2 to 3 times more effective in reducing poverty than the same growth coming from non-agriculture sectors. And it's not a big surprise, because where do people live who are poor? They live in rural areas. What is their main occupation? Agriculture. Therefore, when they looked across countries over the 25 years of development process, this is what they came up with. And interestingly, they found in China, agriculture growth was 3.5 times more effective in reducing poverty. And in Latin American countries, it was 2.7 times more effective in reducing poverty than the same growth coming from industrial sector or services sector. Now, if that is the position that we have, I want to spend a minute on where do we stand vis-a-vis a country like China in the development model. Remember, even in 1981, China's per capita income was less than ours, so they were behind us. And today, they are 4 times ahead of us. They did not start the development process and the reform process the way we have started. What did they do? Their reform process started from 78 onwards. 78 to 84 is the most dramatic period in the history of China. And what did they do? They did only two things. One, the land in China, ownership is with the state. And they used to give to the communes for cultivating it. They said dismantle the communes, it's a free rider problem there, became a household responsibility system, gave it to individuals as user rights. That was one big reform that they did, which is well known in literature. What is less known in literature is that they liberated the price regime for agriculture. The prices of agriculture in real terms went up by about 20%. What was the result? The result was that the farmers' incomes increased in real terms by 15% per annum over those 6 years. 15% per annum, more than doubled in 6 years, and they halved their poverty in 6 years. Halved their poverty in 6 years from 33% to 15%, more than half. And that created such an income base that those people who got so much of extra income in agriculture, they started demanding more of industrial goods. It is to satisfy the demand of that industrial goods, the town and village enterprises of China had to scale up because they could not meet that demand. The manufacturing revolution of China started to satisfy the demand coming from hinterlands, the rural areas. So in a pyramid, economic pyramid, where you have services at the top, industry in the middle, and agriculture at the bottom, they fired the whole thing from the bottom. What happened in India? Our 1991 reforms, when we started off, first it was by stealth. In case of China, when the largest numbers gained, it gave them political legitimacy to push reforms further. In India, our reforms were by stealth, and they were coming from the top. Exchange rate correction, trade policy changes, and tariffs coming down in industrial sector. We have not heard agriculture reforms even till day. So what happened? The Bangalore techies and others, they gained. They started becoming global. And there was a trickle-down effect on poverty. It took 18 years for India to reduce poverty by half. 18 years vis-a-vis 6 years in China. That's the difference in the model of reforms and development that the two countries adopted. Therefore, to me, unless the government, whether it was UPA or NDA today, unless they focus on agriculture, growth can happen, but growth for whom? IT boom can happen, but those people are already above poverty line. Unless you tackle the mass bottom, this is where we need to look at. The long-term rate of growth in agriculture in India from 91 to 2015-16, if you look at, it hovers around 3.1, 3.2%. The target was always 4%. So there is almost 20-25% shortfall in that. But if you look only the last few years and the distress that is happening, from 14-15 when the new government came in, we had successive droughts, but when we had bumper crops also, even then the situation has not improved. 3.5 years of this government, the agriculture growth is hovering at 1.8 to 1.9%. 1.8 to 1.9%. So when we talk about 7%, 8% growth, growth for whom? And will that be able to eliminate poverty? You look at 10 years of UPA government, two successive rounds, 2004-05 to 13-14, the growth in agriculture was 3.7%. target was 4%, 3.7 versus today 1.8, 1.9%. This is where you can feel that there is distress building up in the rural areas, and Saurashtra results also perhaps indicate that. Now, I do want to spend a little bit, not the current political scene in Gujarat, but the agriculture model. Gujarat was in the front runner in agriculture. If you look, not the Prime Minister Modi, but the Chief Minister Modi period, from 2002-3 to 13-14, Gujarat agriculture registered a growth rate of 8% per annum. It was unheard of in the Indian history. Even the Green Revolution days, Punjab registered only 5.6% rate of growth. And Gujarat was speeding ahead at 8% rate of growth, driven by cotton revolution, milk was always good there, and so on and so forth. And I do feel that Chief Minister Modi became 3 times Chief Minister. A part of that was contributed by what was happening in agriculture. The only state so far that has beaten Gujarat record is Madhya Pradesh. If you look 2005-06 to 14-15, for which we have the finally approved data at the central level of all the states, you find that Madhya Pradesh 10-year growth rate is 9.67%. It should lead to much faster poverty reduction. How did they do it? We have heard a bit, number of factors. We worked, on the diagnostics of that. What was driving agriculture growth in Gujarat and what is driving agriculture growth in Madhya Pradesh? Are there any lessons for other states? Because we have to learn from each other. Can we do that? Our analysis about Madhya Pradesh shows that basically 2 things they did. There are a number of factors that went into it, but if you look at 2 or 3 things maximum, you can turn around agriculture. What did they do? 1, almost doubled the irrigated area in 10 years. But second, which is most important, it was amazing. I am reminded of 2012-13. There was a burst of grain, and I was to speak in Mexico on the SKOCH Summit on Green Revolution, and I said another Punjab has risen in India, and I showed the graph of what is happening in Madhya Pradesh, and 1,000 people sitting there were shocked. What? We were talking of Green Revolution in the eastern belt, and there is another state that jumps out of the queue and suddenly shows that it is the second Punjab in the making. What did they do? They started procuring. They erected a procurement mechanism. Yes, he gave 10% higher bonus price also. And I visited in 12-13 when the grain was coming. It was like a big, rain of grain, because there was no storage facility. There was no time to build even the plinth, and they were throwing sandbags and on top of that grain bags. This is 12-13, and they ended up procuring 8.5 million tons of wheat in that year. What I want to indicate by these 2 factors is this: farmer agriculture cannot progress unless he has access to water. Seeds are there, luckily. And even water or seeds will not do the magic unless farmer is assured of a reasonably good price. These 2 pillars, if you have, and this is what was done in Punjab during the Green Revolution, the seeds came from outside, irrigation was very much there. But if you recall, Food Corporation of India It had to procure, there was a burst of grain in Punjab in 1967, and they had no storage facility. The schools had to be closed down and grain had to be put in the classrooms of those schools. That was the first storage in Punjab. Same thing literally happened in Madhya Pradesh. Incentive structures, unless they are set right, farmer will not be able to rise. So this growth, and last 5 years I hear it's about 20% growth on that. I feel privileged. I happen to be in the Chief Minister's Task Force on Agriculture, and let me take that liberty. Chand mein bhi daag hota hai. So what happened in June, July? We were so distressed and so surprised that there was a massive crop. Madhya Pradesh has become the second biggest producer of onions, and the prices collapsed like a house of cards. 1 rupee, 2 rupee. His cost is coming at 5 rupees, 6 rupees, and he was selling at 2 rupees. And they were all on the roads in June, July, asking for what is happening. There was violence, police had to fire, and about 7 farmers, unfortunately, died in Madhya Pradesh. Immediately, the Chief Minister said, what is this happening? I will not allow this to happen, because he finds his identity with farmers, and labh hona chahiye kheti mein. That is his slogan. So he said, I will buy onions at 8 rupees a kg. 2 रुपए किलो बिक रहा था, 8 रुपए किलो हम खरीदेंगे. And this is what Chief Minister is telling me from his own mouth. I will literally in inverted commas. 10 किलोमीटर की लाइन लग गई ट्रैक्टर ट्रॉलीज की और ट्रक्स की. इवन लसन गांव से भी ट्रक इधर आ गए बेचने के लिए 8 रुपए पे, क्योंकि वहाँ 6 रुपए प्राइस चल रहा था. खरीद लिया, लेकिन रखने की जगह नहीं है, स्टोरेज नहीं है. 10 दिन में प्याज सड़ने लगा, वो 2.25 रुपए पे बेच दिया उन्होंने. 1 महीने 1.5 महीने में 785 करोड़ 785 crores loss in onion operations. Trying to give farmer a better deal. 6 रुपए की कॉस्ट है, 8 रुपए हम देंगे. दिल सही जगह पर है, लेकिन स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी नहीं है, प्रोसेसिंग फैसिलिटी नहीं है. आप डिहाइड्रेट कर सकते थे. सारे साल में फूड प्रोसेसिंग पे खर्चा कितना किया? केवल 7 करोड़. 7 करोड़ फूड प्रोसेसिंग पे और 785 करोड़ अनियन ऑपरेशंस में. सिर्फ हृदय में उसके लिए प्यार होना, उसके लिए कुछ करने के लिए तमन्ना होना, वो काफ़ी नहीं है. आपको एक स्ट्रैटेजी बनानी पड़ेगी. प्रॉब्लम ऑफ प्लेंटी आई, उससे कुछ लर्निंग हुई. मुझे वही चीज़ याद आ गई जो 2012-13 में हुई थी वीट में. अगर उस समय प्राइसेस कोलैप्स हो जाते तो वो वीट रेवोल्यूशन मध्य प्रदेश में नहीं होता, और जो आज एग्रीकल्चर की बात कर रहे हैं वो नहीं कर पाते. तो वी हैव टू लर्न फ्रॉम ईच अदर कि जिस समय हम किसान को कहते हैं कि आप और उत्पादन कीजिए और उत्पादकता बढ़ाइए और वो सस्टेनेबल मैनर में बढ़ाइए, सबसे पहले हमें देखना पड़ेगा कि उसके लिए इंसेंटिव्स क्या हैं. क्या हम उसको कुछ, किसान ने जो हमें दिया, ज़्यादा लोग यहाँ यंगस्टर्स हैं जिन्होंने वो दिन देखे नहीं, लेकिन जो डायस पे बैठे हैं उनको 1960s याद होगा. यहाँ तक कि शास्त्री जी जिस समय प्रधानमंत्री थे, उन्होंने कह दिया कि कम से कम हफ्ते में एक खाना मिस कीजिए, हमारे पास गेहूं नहीं है. 10-11 मिलियन टन उस समय इंपोर्ट हो रहा था. पैसा नहीं था खरीदने के लिए PL 480 के दिन. और 5 साल में किसान ने उस पानी से, प्रोक्योरमेंट से हमें वो सेल्फ सफिशिएंसी दे दी जो 71-72 में हम कह सकते थे कि वी आर सेल्फ सफिशिएंट इन ग्रेन्स. एक और उदाहरण दूंगा और चुप हो जाऊंगा. 1951 में, क्योंकि 60s 70s में काफ़ी लोग मेरी उम्र के हैं, हम जब आपकी उम्र के थे 2-2 घंटे 3-3 घंटे लाइन में खड़े होते थे 2 लीटर दूध लेने के लिए। दूध नहीं था इस देश में। 1951 में हमारा दूध का उत्पादन केवल 17 मिलियन टन था, 17, और यूएस का उस समय 53 मिलियन टन था। आपने एक नाम सुना होगा, मिल्कमैन ऑफ इंडिया। वो कैसे हुआ उसकी अपनी एक कहानी है। शास्त्री जी किस तरह से खेड़ा गए और एक रात किसानों के साथ रुके और उससे फिर एनडीडीबी और उससे ऑपरेशन फ्लड बाद में आया। आज यूएस 53 से लेके 95 मिलियन टन पे है यूएस, और हिंदुस्तान 17 से लेके 163 मिलियन टन्स। वी आर द लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ मिल्क टुडे, ऑल डन बाय द स्मॉल होल्डर्स, ऑल डन बाय द स्मॉल होल्डर्स एंड विमेन। जो आप विमेन पार्टिसिपेशन की बात कर रहे थे, 70% डेयरी सेक्टर में जो काम करते हैं वो विमेन हैं घर में। मैं ये क्यों चीज़ ला रहा हूँ, ये कहने के लिए कि आज अमूल का जो मॉडल है, अगर आप 50 रुपये का दूध लेते हैं तो उसमें से 75%, 80% तक भी किसान को जाता है। 75 से 80% जो कंज्यूमर का रूपी है वो किसान को जाता है। वो एक सिंपल सा इन्होंने मॉडल बना दिया कि डायरेक्ट बाइंग करनी है, प्रोसेसिंग करनी है उसकी, और रिटेल से लिंक करना है। लेकिन अनियन में क्या होता है, जब वो 2 रुपए किलो बेच रहा है, आप फिर भी 20 रुपए किलो खरीद रहे हैं। उसको हम क्यों नहीं ठीक कर सकते? अगर ऑपरेशन फ्लड से हमने मिल्क में ये दुनिया में सबसे बड़ा वंडर कर दिया, तो हम क्यों नहीं ऑपरेशन वेजीज लॉन्च करते? कम से कम 3 कमोडिटीज में, टमाटोज, अनियंस एंड पोटैटोज, जो बेसिक्स हैं। ऑपरेशन वेजीज टॉप, मोदी जी को पसंद है टीओपी, टॉप कुछ एब्रीविएशन। हम कर सकते हैं, हमारे किसान वो करके दिखा सकते हैं जो किसी और ने दुनिया में नहीं किया। राइज कर सकते हैं, प्रोवाइडेड उनको इंसेंटिव दे दो, उनको वो हक दे दो जो उनकी कॉस्ट को कवर कर दे। दे कैन टर्न अराउंड टेबल्स। तो मैं यहीं पे एक छोटा सा कि सरकार दे या मार्केट्स को ठीक करो, गेट द मार्केट्स राइट। यहाँ जरा सा कीमत बढ़ती है, उसी समय एक्सपोर्ट बैन कर देते हैं, स्टॉकिंग लिमिट लगा देते हैं, रेट लगा देते हैं। उससे देश की कृषि नहीं आगे बढ़ेगी। इट इज़ लिम्पिंग, वेकअप कॉल फॉर द गवर्नमेंट। इस समय किसान की हालत जो 3 साल 4 साल पहले थी, उससे 50% नीचे आ गया है। ग्रोथ रेट इज़ हाफ ऑफ व्हाट इट यूज्ड टू बी। अगर ये अभी भी नहीं जागे तो फिर किसान, उन्नति तो बहुत दूर और पॉवर्टी एलिमिनेशन तो बहुत दूर। वो कहीं आक्रोश में जो सरदार पटेल ने किया था किसी ज़माने में किसानों को साथ लेके, तो हमें ग्रोथ अलोन विल नॉट डिलीवर growth for whom and what type of growth, that is equally important. We must remember that. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद देता हूं डॉक्टर गुलाटी को हमें झकझोरने के लिए, और इसके साथ ही आमंत्रित करता हूं डॉक्टर इंदिरा राजरामन को, मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक व्यू फॉर इंडिया 2030 वो कैसे होगा। प्रोफेसर।
all my young friends in the audience. आप माफ़ करेंगे मुझे कि मैं पूरा हिंदी में नहीं बात कर पाऊंगी. So you will, I hope you will allow me to speak in English, लेकिन बीच में मैं कुछ टिप्पणियाँ हिंदी में कर सकती हूँ. The topic that was given to me today was India 2030, 12 years hence, a macroeconomic view. The previous speaker who spoke on agriculture, कृषि के बारे में जो बात हुई थी, उन्होंने सही कहा कि सिर्फ ग्रोथ से हम गरीबी नहीं मिटा सकते हैं हमारे देश में. There has to be a strategy for the removal of poverty, which is closely tied to the agricultural strategy that we have. But the topic that has been given to me today is about growth, overall growth, and even though growth for whom is important, in the first place you need growth before you discuss growth for whom. Growth के बिना हम growth for whom के बारे में नहीं बात कर सकते हैं. So first of all, we do need growth. So this is part one, my introduction. And I will deal with the targets of this summit, the very ambitious targets of this summit. So as you would have seen in the flyer that was given to you, this summit is targeting a total GDP for India in $1 trillion US dollars of 10 trillion. हमारे हिसाब से trillion is lakh crore. So that is 10 raised to the power of 12. And this is at the official exchange rate, not at purchasing power parity. If we look at our current year's 2017-18 GDP in US dollars, then we are roughly at 2.6. That little wiggle that you have in front of 2.6 is to indicate that that is an approximate figure. If we want to look at the required growth, कितना growth करना है हमने कि from 2.6 today हमने 10 तक इंडिया को पहुंचाना हो, तो that will be roughly 11.9% per year in nominal dollar terms. But the dollar is not our currency, the rupee is our currency. And we also have to work out the required real growth. Those of you who have studied economics know that real growth means the actual increase in goods and services. We have to make some assumptions. I'm assuming that we will stay at 4% inflation, which is our legislated target in terms of annual inflation. And if we have a stable dollar exchange rate, that works out to a roughly 7.6% real growth per year. So that is what we have to do. We have to have a 7.6% real growth per year if we want to hit this very ambitious target of an economy with a size of 10 trillion US dollars. Now, before I go into what we have to do to get that 7.6% growth, it looks doable. The present year's growth has been projected at 6.7%. Probably we may not get to 6.7% this year. The 7.6% is ambitious, but it is not beyond the realm of what is possible. So let us see what our macroeconomic strengths are. A big economic strength, which we should all as Indians be very proud of, is that we have never defaulted on our external debt, never. Other countries have, other countries even richer than ours have, but we have never defaulted. It's a very proud record. Our external reserves today are at an all-time high of 400 billion US dollars. Monetary policy is in the hands of the Reserve Bank of India, which carries international credibility and now is bound by an inflation target of 4% plus minus 2%. Fiscal policy and public debt are subjected to legislated limits. Hamare FRBM acts here at the center, and borrowing by state governments is constitutionally subordinated to national control. And this last point that I have brought in is government at all levels are democratically elected. As you know, we've just had an election in one of the major states of the country. And I've introduced it deliberately among our macroeconomic strengths. Previous speakers, including Dr. Gulati, have referred to the extraordinary achievements of China. And because of this extraordinary achievement, बहुत लोग दुनिया में और हमारे देश में भी समझते हैं, चाइना तो वो सब कर सकते थे क्योंकि वो डेमोक्रेसी नहीं थे. They didn't have to worry about elections. The leadership of the country could just go ahead and do whatever they wanted to do. But so we have to look at what the economics literature says about the relationship between democracy and growth. Is democracy really bad for growth? And there is a recent paper which I wanted to cite which is very positive about the impact of democracy on growth. It is authored by Darren Acemoglu, who's a very famous and well-respected economist of Turkish origin in MIT, which is one of the premier institutions in America. This paper challenges the widespread view stemming from the spectacular economic growth under non-democracy in China, which has led to the view held by many people that democracy is at best irrelevant and at worst a hindrance for economic growth. They tested this paper, and why I am citing this paper is not because we are thinking of moving to a non-democracy. I hope that will never happen. That will be a disaster. But what I want to look at is the channels through which their empirical work, jo research unhone kiya, they have found that democracy increases future GDP by encouraging investment, increasing schooling, improving provision of public goods, inducing economic reform, and reducing social unrest. So these are the channels that we have to look at in terms of what we have to do if we want to get to 7.6% growth. So this is my outline. I've already done part one, introduction, and I'm going to take the channels from that paper one by one. Investment, schooling, public goods, reforms, cross-state cooperation. So I'll take them in turn, and I think I should finish by my allotted time of 20 minutes. I will ask my friend Dr. Alok to signal me if I cross 20 minutes. 2 minutes before I cross. But I think I should be able to completely stick to that. So part two, which is about investment. Investment as a percentage of GDP in India has been steadily falling since 2011-12. And I have confined myself to the period of this new GDP series so that there is no quarrel about different series and the difficulty of comparing across series. So you can see that in 2011-12, by the new series, gross fixed capital formation, that is that GFCF over there, it was a little under 35%, and now in 16-17, it has come down to 27%. So this is a steady decline. And you will remember from that paper that it says investment is very necessary. Please remember that I am in no way countering what Dr. Gulati said about how growth by itself is not sufficient. You need to look at growth for whom. Absolutely. But in the very first place, you do need investment. The composition of that investment does matter. What it is going into. Is it going into irrigation, as it should? Or is it going into useless things? All of that matters. But we are just now looking at the macro view. What is the overall percentage? So this is not very encouraging, that investment as a percentage of GDP in India has declined. However, there is some cause for comfort. And that is that the ratio between investment and real growth rates, which we call the incremental capital output ratio, that has also been declining. And that is good news. Why is that good news? It's good news because the incremental capital output ratio tells us for 1% increase for 1% of growth, how many percentage points of investment as a percentage of GDP do you need? So you can see that in the beginning, in 12-13 actually, I had to shift the year because the data were not available for 11-12. You can see that the incremental capital output ratio was as high as 6, which means that for every percentage point of growth, you needed 6 percentage points in terms of investment as a percentage of GDP. That has also been falling to what is now in the neighborhood of 4. Now, for 1% growth, we need only 4 percentage points of investment. That's very good news. If we can keep the I-core at this level, then for 7.6% growth, we just need to lift investment as a percentage of GDP to 30.4%. We are now at 27, we need to lift it to 30.4%. That is hopefully doable. And in order to do that, of course, we do have to improve the ease of doing business in this country, not just at the upper end, but all across the scale spectrum. We need to enable people in the rural areas of India to set up small industries, whatever it may be, bicycle mechanics, scooter repairers, in order to cater to the local market. And the World Bank's ease of doing business, we have risen in 2018. India has risen in rank to 100 from 130. And the countries at rank 1 were Singapore and New Zealand. We have a lot to learn from Singapore, as you will see as I go along. So I'm now going to go into part 3, which is about skills and schooling. And here, the story is not very good at all. And this is what we need to worry most about. There is an organization called Pratham. Shayad aapne suna hoga, Pratham. This organization, it's an NGO. They do an annual survey of of schooling in this country. The annual survey of education. It's called ASAR. Annual School Education Report, ASAR. And the latest report is 2016. The 2017 report will come out in January 2018. What they do is, they don't do a school-based sampling of children. They do a household-based sampling of children, and they do it in rural areas. And this is why I think it is so very important to focus on the ASAR reports, because it is from the rural areas that we are going to get all the young people coming into the labor force. So the schooling that they have received is extremely important. They have a sample in the most recent report of 562,000, roughly, children from 350,000 households in 589 rural districts. So it's a nationwide survey. And what they find is that as far as enrollment is concerned, whether you're talking about 6 to 14 years or 15 to 16 years, it's not too bad at all. I think enrollment in the age 15 to 16 years at nearly 85% is pretty good. That means that the dropout rate is not so bad. The enrollment in private schools is roughly steady at 30%. So out of 10 children in rural areas, 3 go to private schools, 7 go to government schools. But because 7 go to government schools, we have to worry a great deal about the state of affairs in those government schools. Here comes the sad story that the ASAR report reveals. Standard 8 students who could read at least a standard 2 text, jo standard 2 mein padhna hoga, that is the highest level they test for. And they found that only 75%, yani 4 bachon mein se sirf 3 bache was in standard 8, standard 2 ka test padh sakte the aur samajh sakte the. The bottommost line here is even worse. Standard 8 students who could correctly do a 3-digit by 1-digit division, that is like dividing the number 899 by 7. 68% could do it in 2010. That percentage came down to 44% in 2014, and it has further come down to 43.3% in 2016. When we get the 2017 report next month, we'll have to see whether that percentage has dropped more or whether it has actually gone up a little bit. Now, this is extremely worrying, because if our demographic advantage, which is these beautiful young people who are coming into the labor force, you are among them, if on average, we are not talking about the schooling you in particular received or your achievements, but on average across this country, if they are not learning basic skills, then they cannot function effectively even in agriculture. And मैं एक example दूंगी to link it up with what the previous speaker, Dr. Gulati, said. आप जानते होंगे कि one of the initiatives of this present government is to distribute soil health cards. Soil health cards का उद्देश्य ये है कि farmers को पता करें कि उनका soil का क्या composition है और कितने fertilizers डालने हैं उसमें. But if the farmers of tomorrow cannot read, cannot do arithmetic, cannot understand, and that is already happening. Farmers are receiving soil health cards which they are not using at all. So all this expenditure on the soil health card scheme is going to waste. They are just applying fertilizers as they have always applied fertilizers. So in order even to improve agricultural productivity, we need to have basic literacy and basic numeracy in the population. And this, our school system is not delivering so far, unfortunately. As far as school infrastructure is concerned, there has been substantial improvement, probably because of the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. This was done from a survey of 15,630 rural government schools. As you can see, usable toilet facilities, usable girls' toilets, drinking water availability quite impressive at 74% libraries. So there has been an improvement in infrastructure, which means that girls and boys will more readily go to school if there is a school where there are toilet facilities and drinking water, but the quality of education has to improve. And last, I will just conclude with something that we should take on board. You know, there is, just as you have the World Bank Ease of Doing Business survey, there is also something, an international survey of school achievement. It's called the Program for International Student Assessment, PISA. And it is a test of 15-year-old scholastic performance. It was started in 2000 and is repeated every year, 2000, then 2003, and then 2006, 2009, and so on. The 2015 round was published in December 2016. Singapore is top ranked in all three components, mathematics, science, and reading. Now, Singapore is a country not very far from India, and it has close links to India. If you have ever gone to Singapore, you will find that all the signs in the airport are in English and in Chinese and in Tamil, which is an Indian language. That tells you the size of the Indian diaspora in Singapore. So, जो सिंगापुर के achievements हैं, हमारे Indians भी उसमें जुड़े हुए हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि हम इस तरह के achievements नहीं कर पाते हैं. We are citizens of Singapore where these top-ranked achievements are being recorded. So it is not that something is wrong with us as Indians. Our system is not working for us. And we need to look at Singapore. Singapore is a neighboring country. We need to look at them कि ये लोग ऐसे कैसे कर पाते हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं. That in every international ranking, whether it's ease of doing business or school achievement, Singapore is on top. India participated only in the 2009 round. And we permitted the survey to be done only in 2 states, Himachal Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, because these are the 2 states which are best known for their schooling achievement. The 2009 report does not include India in the official rankings because India pulled out after they learned how badly we had done. But it was widely reported that India stood second last. And the only country which did worse than India was Kazakhstan. So this is very sad. We have Singapore, which has so many Indian citizens that their airport signs are in Tamil. And we have India, where we have all of us, and we are doing so badly. So I'm mentioning this because of that research paper I started out with, which said you have to have investment, you have to have schooling. We need to have tremendous improvement on the schooling front. Otherwise, we are not going to get anywhere. Part 4, public goods. What is a public good? Several previous speakers, I think all of them in fact, have mentioned the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. That is a textbook example of a public good. A public good ऐसी चीज़ है जिससे हर एक आदमी, हर एक व्यक्ति को लाभ मिलती है. जैसे, just like a सड़क. When Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana links up a village with the road network, then everybody can use that road. हर व्यक्ति उस ग्राम में इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं और बाहर लोग भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि इसको मिलेगा और इसको नहीं मिलेगा. Now, the very great emphasis which is given in our public discourse is not so much to public goods, despite Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. It's a great program. I always cite it as an example of the kind of public good we need. And it is important for improving agricultural productivity also. But in our public discourse, we discuss much more beneficiary targeting. Now, NREGA is an example of a beneficiary targeted program. गरीब लोगों को income देने के लिए. It's not that we don't need such programs, we need them because हमारे देश में गरीब लोगों की संख्या बहुत ज़्यादा है. But as you can see from that research paper, what you really need to do if you need to build up an economy into an engine which will work for everybody, then you do need to have a lot of emphasis on public goods. Unlike beneficiary targeting, what is NREGA? NREGA is giving income to the hands of poor people because they are not able to make a living on their own. They अपने खुद के effort से नहीं हो पा रहा है. So we are giving them some scheme from which बेचारे कुछ ना कुछ income मिले जिसे वो कुछ खा पाए और जिंदा रह पाए. So public goods are what we need if we want to improve the ability of people to make a livelihood on their own. And here I will just look at the central schemes which were budgeted in 2016-17. This is after the 14th Finance Commission. The central schemes were greatly reduced in number, and they were reduced to 3 categories, something called core of the core, and there was core and optional. And you can see that in core of the core, which is what the central government considers to be terribly important, the share of public goods is 0. You can see that in core, the share of public goods is much higher at 88%, and in optional, it is 100%. Overall, the share of public goods across all these central schemes is 66%. It's not bad, but that is, you can see the relative importance that is given to beneficiary targeting. And you can see that overall, as a share of the total, core of the core accounts for 25%, and the core and optional account for the rest. I'm going to go into the last part, economic reforms across states. The Department of Industrial Promotion and Policies has been ranking states on reforms as part of the Make in India campaign in December 2014. Now, of course, this is a Department of Industrial Promotion and Policy, so this is not about agriculture, but we do need industry in our country. And in 2017, they have started a new program whereby states will be ranked in terms of feedback from ground level experience of businesses. So a state cannot stand up and say, भैया हमने तो बहुत मदद की, स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्री हमारे स्टेट में हम बहुत मदद करते हैं, कोई रुकावट नहीं है, दे कैन सेट अप, बिजली का कनेक्शन, पानी का कनेक्शन, सब कुछ 1-2 दिन में मिल जाते हैं. They don't go by that. They go and ask, do a ground level survey and ask at the ground level, भैया ये सच है कि आपको बिजली पानी का कनेक्शन मिल रहा है. So this is a totally different approach which has been adopted by this government very commendably. And this is a promising avenue for encouraging cross-state competition. States are now so keen to be at the top of this ranking within India that they are really trying to improve their performance so that there isn't this kind of obstructions to businesses setting up. We need constructive cooperation between states, but we also, constructive competition between states, as I said, but we also need cooperation between states towards a common purpose. And there is no cross-party cooperation on a common national agenda desired by all, such as water conservation, raising agricultural productivity, or reversing river and air pollution. तो ये ऐसे उद्देश्य हैं जैसे water conservation, agricultural productivity, river and air pollution, ये ऐसे उद्देश्य हैं जो सबके उद्देश्य हैं, होने चाहिए. लेकिन there is very poor record of cross-party competition, cooperation to achieve these goals which are common to all states. For example, recently in November, as you know, children, babies, old people, and even people in their productive years suffered terribly from asthma, breathing difficulties. Some of them were not able to go to work at all because Delhi, Haryana, and Punjab, neighboring states, were not able to secure a ban on burning of crop residue, which has led to November air over this region reaching the top of air pollution international rankings. International headlines, the state of air pollution in Delhi was reaching international headlines. उस तरह के rankings में हम #1 ranking position नहीं चाहते हैं. We don't want to be at the top of air pollution rankings. But why could not these 3 states cooperate? Punjab presently has a Congress government. Haryana has a BJP government, Delhi has an AAP government. And they could not cooperate. As you have seen, even from this Gujarat election that we have had, हमारे political parties जो हैं, वो एक दूसरे को गालियां देते हैं, हर तरह की गालियां, और ये नहीं समझ सकते हैं कि हम गरीब देश हैं, हम हमारे देश के वासियों को सर्व करना है, और इसमें हम सक्सेस नहीं प्राप्त करेंगे जब तक हम एक दूसरे को गाली दे रहे हैं. We have to cooperate. And I wish that the election in Gujarat and in Himachal had been conducted in such a way that every party said, हाँ, हम मानते हैं कि एक और पार्टी आपके वोट्स के लिए पूछ रहा है, लेकिन आप हमें आपके वोट्स दे दीजिए, क्योंकि हम ऐसे करेंगे, वैसे करेंगे, आपको पानी दिलाएंगे, आपको आपका इकोनॉमिक स्टेटस को बढ़ाएंगे. That would be good if they focused on what they will do for the people. But जब एक दूसरे को गाली दे रहे हैं, तो election victory के बाद ये नहीं हो सकता कि वो cooperate कर पाएंगे with another state which is governed by that other party. The memory of that bitter election struggle will remain, and this kind of cooperation will not be possible. So the discourse between political parties has to change in our country. Democracy is an advantage, I still think so, and I agree with that, the authors of that paper, that it is indeed an advantage, but we have to change the nature of our political discourse. There is also destructive electoral competition between national governments and state governments for political ownership of public expenditure. And that is why there is such a preference for beneficiary targeting and even for preferential targeting even of public goods. So for instance, supposing there is a NREGA, which is beneficiary target. So when the national election comes in 2019, the ruling party can go to the voter all across the country and say, हमने तुमको फायदा दिलाया, ये तुमको or whatever it is, whatever beneficiaries have of their various programs, ये हमारी तरफ से है, ये state government से नहीं आया. Whereas with public goods, everybody benefits, and it's difficult to have political ownership. So what we need in our country now is not bitter political competition between parties, but statesmanship, where someone who is elected says, thank you to the voters, thank you for electing us. Now we will include all parties in a cross-party platform to improve the status of the Indian people. Conclusions. Real GDP growth of 7.6% per annum, which is consistent, which is what we need if we want to reach Mr. Sameer Kochhar's prescribed targets in 2030 is a desirable target, but it will be difficult to reach without deep structural reform. Fundamental structural reform, calling for cooperation between all levels of government, central, state, and local. This crop burning residue, burning of crop residue, it simply cannot be solved even at the state government level. There has to be involvement of panchayats in this effort. We have to improve the quality of primary education in government schools along with the health status and safety of these children. There's no question about the fact that if the children are in poor health, they cannot absorb the education that is given to them. We have to improve the ease of doing business so as to ramp up investment at all scale levels from micro to large scale. We have to enable the opening of small businesses in villages catering to the local population and large businesses catering either to the domestic market or to export markets. And we have to improve the quality of public goods such as access to sanitation, clean water, and clean air. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Dr. Indira Rajaraman, for giving us a perspective which is totally different from what we've been listening in the morning. I now invite Professor V. N. Alok from Indian Institute of Public Administration for closing remarks.
Shri Sameer Kochhar, Dr. Indira Rajaraman, Dr. Aruna Sharma, Dr. Professor Ashok Gulati, Dr. Ashok Chawla, Professor Phatak, Shri Dhanjal, Shri Gursharan Dhanjal, my friend, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, ये जो अवसर है, ये 50वीं जयंती है स्कॉच की, और ये स्वर्णिम जयंती है, यानी स्वर्णिम दौर है। ये जो भारत की जन जन की ज़िंदगी को जो बेहतर बनाने की जो प्रयास है, उसको समझने का ये स्वर्णिम दौर है। जो श्री समीर कोचर ने कुछ समय पहले कहा, जो उनकी यात्रा रही पिछले कई सालों से, और उन्होंने ये जितने भी चैम्पियंस हैं जिन्होंने गवर्नेंस को बेहतर करने की कोशिश की, जिन्होंने जनमानस की ज़िंदगी में पॉजिटिविटीज़ लाने की कोशिश की, उसको श्री समीर कोचर ने अपनी जो संस्था है स्कॉच, इसके तहत उसको समझने की कोशिश की, उसको डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस करने की कोशिश की, और लर्निंग फ्रॉम ईच अदर का बहुत बड़ा प्रयास किया, जिसको डॉक्यूमेंट भी किया। और आज उन्होंने हम सबके सामने अपने को बताया कि मैं एक एकेडमिक शूद्र हूँ, यानी मुझे एक फॉर्मल एजुकेशंस यूनिवर्सिटी से नहीं मिली, बट ये एक ऐसे एकेडमिक शूद्र हैं जिन्होंने बिना किसी रिजर्वेशन के, बिना किसी सपोर्ट के, अपने खुद के प्रयासों से ये जो चैम्पियंस हैं गवर्नेंस के, जो एकेडमिक्स के, इनको आपस में एक दूसरे से सीखना सिखाया और उसको डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करने की कोशिश की। आज जो इसका 50वां दौर है, जो स्वर्ण जयंती गोल्डन जुबली सेलिब्रेशंस है, this the first session that we had some very eminent speakers with us, and I'm extremely thankful that they shared their perspective with us, they shared their insights with us here. जैसे अशोक चावला जी ने कहा, सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट्स कि उसके 3 पिलर्स जो उन्होंने हमारे साथ शेयर किए, इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट, सोशल डेवलपमेंट और एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शंस। स्कॉच इन्हीं के जो विभिन्न आयाम हैं, इन्हीं के जो डायमेंशंस हैं, बहुत सारी स्टेट्स में, लोकल लेवल्स पे, उसकी जो बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस थी उसको अवार्ड देने की कोशिश की। हमारे सबके बीच में यहाँ पे बहुत सारे अवार्डीज़ बैठे हैं जिन्होंने बहुत छोटे छोटे प्रयासों से बड़े बड़े परिवर्तन लाए लोगों की ज़िंदगी में। तो अशोक चावला जी ने जो बताया, जो which has emanated from its rich experience in the governments and in various policy making institutions. All these eminent speakers, as you know, they have influenced the policies of the government over a period of time at the national level or at the state levels. आप जो सब बैठे हैं, ये अपने locals level पे आपने लोगों की ज़िंदगी को बेहतर बनाने की कोशिश की है। तो ये बड़ा अच्छा मौका है कि हम जो नेशनल लेवल लीडर्स हैं, जो स्टेट लेवल लीडर्स हैं, उसमें लोकल लेवल लीडर्स आपस में एक दूसरे से सीखें। जैसा कि डॉक्टर इंदिरा राजारमन, शी हैज़ मेंशन्ड अबाउट दिस inclusive governance, that states have to learn from each other, and there should be a coordination between the national and the state and the local levels. See, इसमें एक बात मैं अभी कहना चाहूँगा, प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी ने जो कोऑपरेटिव फेडरलिज्म की बात की, उसके साथ साथ उन्होंने कॉम्पिटिटिव फेडरलिज्म की बात भी किया था, जो डॉक्टर इंदिरा राजारमन ने अभी एम्फेसाइज किया, जो उन्होंने अपना जो व्याख्यान दिया जिसमें 2.6 ट्रिलियन डॉलर की इकोनॉमी को 10 ट्रिलियन डॉलर की इकोनॉमी पे कैसे लेके जाएं, इसके लिए उन्होंने जो अपनी रेसिपी बताई, उसमें एक लास्ट का पॉइंट जो था वो दैट वी हैव टू लर्न फ्रॉम ईच अदर, which means there can't be any inclusive growth without the inclusive governance. So you have to take these panchayat municipalities, you know, along with you in your policy making exercise. जो स्कॉच का भी बहुत समय से प्रयास रहा है. जब मैं सबसे पहले श्री समीर कोचर से मिला था तो वो पंचायतों पे ही काम किया करते थे, कोई 12 साल पुरानी बात है. और जब मैं पहली बार डॉक्टर अरुणा शर्मा को सुना तो वो भी 2013 की बात थी. यू मे नॉट रिमेंबर, but I was there at Gandhinagar. Sameer Kochhar, Mr Dhanjal and Rohan was there. जब समीर कोशिश कर रहे थे अपनी मोदी इकोनॉमिक्स लिखने का, if you remember that. तो गांधीनगर में डॉक्टर अरुणा शर्मा, she was the lead speaker that Modi Saab organized. She was the next speaker after Chief Minister Modi, and she was talking about these panchayats and it's the opportunities that is there with the panchayats with them. मैं डॉक्टर अशोक गुलाटी साहब का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं कि उन्होंने अपने विचार हम सबके साथ शेयर किए. ये बड़ा ज़रूरी है कि एग्रीकल्चर में ग्रोथ लाई जाए, और जैसा उन्होंने कहा कि 1% ग्रोथ एग्रीकल्चर में पॉवर्टी को 2% कम कर सकती है. हम सभी को पता है, जो लोग ख़ास तौर से उत्तर भारत के रहने वाले हैं, कि एग्रीकल्चर में ग्रोथ थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है. सर्विस सेक्टर में ग्रोथ आसानी से आ जाता है, बट एग्रीकल्चर बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है और हम सब की ज़िंदगी के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. हम लोग PL 480 से सरबती गेहूं की तरफ आ गए हैं. मिस अरुणा शर्मा हमारे साथ हैं. आज उस किताब का विमोचन हुआ है जो मध्य प्रदेश के ऊपर लिखी गई है, एंड मध्य प्रदेश is a champion on various things. So ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to inflict any speech on you. This is the time that we must acknowledge the knowledge and the insights that the eminent speaker shared with us, and I would request all of you to stand up and give a big round of applause to the eminent speakers. We can now proceed for a cup of tea. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. We break for tea, 20 minutes. We reassemble in the same hall. 10 past 12.